Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. Today I want to do something really fun and try out 6 new or new to me fall patterns. So I have scoured the internet over the course of the past couple of weeks and I found some really cute fall patterns that I haven't seen a ton of people make, at least for most of them. And I personally haven't made any of them. So today I'm really looking forward to trying out some new patterns and seeing if any of these will be some of my fall market staples or which ones I just make once for fun. So 5 of these patterns are free and one is a paid pattern from Etsy, which I have already bought. 2 of the patterns are from Instagram, one is from a YouTube tutorial and one is from a website, and then one is from Etsy, so lots of different sources. I have already finished one of the patterns, which I will show you in just a second. So now let's get right into the video. Grab yourselves a drink or a snack and let's begin. Okay, so as I said, the first pattern I have already made prior to this video, but I still wanted to include that into all of the fall patterns that I'm sharing with you today because I think that this is such a cute one and I don't see a ton of people make it. But it is a free pattern. It is for a candy corn triceratops, and let me just show you that right now. So this is what he's looking like. So definitely a decently sized plushie. This is one of the free patterns that I wanted to try out, not just for this video, but for my fall markets as well. So this is by the Nicole Chase, and she has a ton of different free patterns on her website. She specializes in making lots of different dino patterns. So she has lots of different types of dinos available, and they're all free patterns, which is great because these are actually pretty detailed, so quite a lot of pieces. And I found out about her website when I was looking for a lion pattern, which I made for a custom order a while ago. So that is when I found out about her website, and ever since then I've been making some of her patterns, like a puppy and now this dino. And she has this like free modification for her mini triceratops, which makes it candy corn themed. So the only thing that's basically different than her regular triceratops is the horns. So this is what makes it candy corn themed. These are a little bit fiddly to work on because like the row count is so small and then you have to color change quite a bit. So that is probably the trickiest part of this pattern. Also, it has quite a lot of pieces to be sewn on. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. The head and the body are 2 different pieces. So we have 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 pieces to be sewn together. So this actually takes a little while to make. I think it took me around an hour and 45-ish minutes, so quite a long time. And I think if it's possible for you, if you are working with bigger yarns, you could definitely get a little more value out of a detailed pattern like this. But I'm still super happy with how this one turned out. I really like the concept of this triceratops. I think it's just different enough so that not a lot of people have that on their table, and I'm really excited to see how he does at my markets. This is also like the smaller triceratops. She has like this version, which she calls the mini version, and then she has like the regular size, and you could definitely make a candy corn in the regular size as well and have them like staged as a little family, which I think is such a cute idea. So definitely recommend this one, probably in a chunkier yarn, so that you can actually price it a little bit higher for all of these pieces. But nonetheless, I still really like this one, and he also sits by himself. So we will just place him here while I talk to you about pattern number 2. Okay, so now let's get into pattern number 2. For pattern number 2, I have picked out the sunflower turtle by 1 Cent Crochet. So this is a free YouTube tutorial, and I know that like a sunflower turtle is probably something that a lot of people already make, but I personally have never ever made one in my 2 years of crocheting. So I thought, why not try one out for the fall season, because I think it's like kind of a seasonal plushie. You could definitely bring them to like markets all year round, but I've been wanting to try out one for quite a while, and now I thought for fall this would be the perfect reason to finally try one out. And I decided on the tutorial by 1 Cent Crochet because I thought, first of all, it looks adorable, and second of all, it looks kind of like a decent size. So I actually already went ahead and started working on it a couple of days ago. So let me show you what I have finished so far. So I started out by making the head. So this is what it's looking like. I decided to go for this really dark turquoise greenish agave color. And this is what I mean by it's kind of a decent size. So this is definitely way bigger than my usual turtles. I can get one out later and compare it in size, but this is definitely quite a good size. And then I also have made up the 4 fins. So this is what those look like. So definitely kind of a nice size. So now what I still need to make for the body parts is the little tail, and my usual turtles don't have a tail, so I was thinking about whether or not I should make one for this one, but I think with the nice size that this turtle has, I think that adding a tail is probably a good idea because it just looks a little more detailed. So I will keep working with this yarn and make the tail, and then we will move on to making the body.
Hey, how's your day? I don't know if I'm interrupting what you say. I've got to know if I've been MIA. I can make it up to you right now. What you say, you should know. I see more life when I'm with you.
Okay friends, so it's now a little while later. I have finished the little tail for the turtle, and then I had the hardest time picking out the colors for the shell and then like the petals. So of course the petals for a sunflower will be yellow, but I have this bright yellow, and then I also have this mustard yellow. So I was like holding it up to the body parts that I have already made and comparing it also to like all of the different brown shades that I have in my yarn stash. So I had quite a lot of different shades that I was trying out. So I have all of those that I was testing against the body color, and then I realized that actually this body color is quite dark. So before I thought I could use this color and then like the light yellow, and then I kind of didn't really like it when I was holding it up together because like these two are so dark. So this was like a little too dark for me. That is when I picked out the lighter colors, and I didn't really like love any of them. Like this would be okay, but then like the contrast is not that big between those two. This is like kind of like too ashy. That makes the turtle like look a little dead, honestly. And then what I decided to go for with the shell color was this brown, so this, and then I will be using the light yellow for that, and then like this is the color combo. But honestly, I didn't really realize that this color would come across quite as dark as it is coming across. So I had a little bit of a harder time to figure out the color palette for this piece. But as I just showed you, I have now finished the body and I'm now quite happy with this combination. So now I will keep watching the tutorial and figure out what comes next. I think we will attach the head next and then probably make the petals, but I'm not entirely sure. I'm making this for the first time, as you know. So I will keep watching and hopefully finish this turtle before I have to leave today.
Traffic ain't a waste of time. When you were there to hold my hand, but I've had it with the 405 since you said I'd missed my last chance. But I know that you've been asking about me. If I tried though to get you back, would you let me? It might take some time to change your mind, but maybe everything we can make it right. This take me back in your I took you for a top-down drive. Just you and me and an empty road. Maybe I can make it cross your mind. Jump back in, baby, go, go, go. Oh, I know that you've been asking about me. If I tried though to get you back, would you let me? Oh, it might take some time to change your mind. Maybe everything we can make it right. Just take me back in your eyes.
Okay, so I have now finished up the second pattern, which is this little sunflower turtle by 1 cent crochet. And actually this one took such a long time to make. I definitely underestimated how long the petals were going to take me, because you do go around like the whole way and you have to make quite a lot of stitches, obviously, but I definitely underestimated that. So I think this one almost took me like 2 hours in total to complete, because it's actually like quite detailed, and it did turn out quite the nice size. I also really like the color palette now that it's finished, so I definitely think this is like very fall themed. What I actually did not enjoy as much with this pattern was the sewing instructions, because they weren't like really detailed. They were mostly like hold the parts up and then sew them together, and I usually really like when patterns include like actual row counts and then like stitches in between parts. So that is why this looks a little funky on the bottom, because I tried my best to like center out all of the fins. Let me pull in this little string. I tried my best to center out the fins, so I sewed on the front fins, and I realized they were actually kind of like far apart, so it's like very spreading wide. And then I actually counted out the stitches on the bottom that were left and marked the center so that I could center the 2 back fins. So I ended up doing that for myself, and that ended up working pretty nicely. But overall, I still think this one is such a cutie, and I'm actually kind of motivated to make another sunflower turtle, but like use my usual turtle pattern to have like a little sunflower family. But for now, I'm so happy that this one is done. So that is pattern number 2, the second fall pattern that I have tried out now. And actually I'm about to leave here, but I will be back tomorrow and we will work on the rest of the patterns. Okay friends, I'm now back for day 2 of testing some new fall patterns, and for today I think we will be heading into the 2 Instagram patterns I've picked out. So the first one I chose is this jellycat inspired pumpkin by Spammy Crochets, and this pattern is over a year old, so it's definitely not a new pattern, but it's new to me. And I recently made a jellycat inspired cloud plushie, and I really liked making that, and I thought it was so cute. So when I saw this pattern, I knew that I had to make it and try it out. So that is the first pattern that we're working on today. I have already picked out the yarn, so basically we mostly only need orange and then brown. So this will be the brown that I make the feet in. That is also what I used for the cloud. So I think it's good to have a little bit of consistency in like all of the jellycat inspired patterns that I want to make. I also need some green, but I will pick that out once I actually need it. And yeah, let me just get right into it. It looks pretty simple. I think that the feet are even like crocheted into the body, but we will see all about that. I will start working now and I will check in once I have something to show you.
Fed up and feeling so downhearted, moaning every day about life. I wanna finish up everything I started, take a chance and roll the dice.
Okay friends, it's now a little while later and I have finished the little pumpkin. So actually this one turned out to be a no-sew pattern, which I didn't even realize the first time I saw this. But of course that makes it way quicker than any sewing. So this only took me 45 minutes and I'm super happy with the result. Let me show that to you right now. So this is what he ended up looking like. It's very cute with his two little feet and with the green stalk up here. And also like the little smile always gets me with these Jellycat inspired plushies. But what I ended up changing a little bit about this pattern is when I first saw this pattern, I realized that the feet personally felt a little big for my liking. So I ended up still making the same feet that are in the pattern, but I just used way tighter tension for those. And that is why they might come across a little shorter than in the original pattern. But overall, I'm super excited about how this one turned out. Also, like the indents really make this very pumpkin shaped. While I was making this, I actually wasn't so sure if I was doing everything correctly because like the body of the pumpkin turns out to be like very long and the pattern doesn't really look like that. So like during the process of making it, I was a little nervous, but once you like close it up and you start making those indents that actually make it pumpkin shaped, it actually turns out to be very round and cute looking. So I am super excited about this. Definitely a quick make, definitely super market prep friendly and just like a little different than a regular pumpkin. So definitely something to set your booth apart from others. Okay, so while we're at it, let's actually do the other Instagram pattern for pattern number 4. So this is the Little Carrot Baby by Nash the Yarn Man, and this one is also an older pattern, so it's from 2022, but I've never made it. I've had it in my saved list for such a long time, but I never really got around to trying it out. And I think like with the whole harvest season also being fall, I thought that this would be the perfect season to finally try out this pattern. It looks simple enough, so I'm hoping that it is another quick make that could be a market staple in the future. So let me try out the pattern. I have already picked out the color palette, so let me show that to you right now. Okay, so the palette for the carrot is kind of similar to the pumpkin one, so of course we will also be using orange and the same green for the leaves because I really like this color combination. I think that looks very cute. And then for trying out the pattern for the first time, I decided to go ahead and go with kind of a similar color to what the carrot in the picture is looking like. So the little carrot has a pair of pants on and the one in the pattern picture is kind of a similar color as this. And like looking at the color palette, I think this looks so cute. And that is why I'm trying out blue pants for the first time. If I do decide that this is going to be a market staple, I can definitely think of a couple of different colors that I could also make these little overalls in. But for now we will be using this. So let me read through the pattern and start working on that, and I will check in with you guys once I have something to show you.
It comes and goes in the blink of an eye. Soon as I swear you've been left behind, all the colors come back so bright. Wish I could keep you in black and white, sorta like a picture in a drawer. I don't wanna look at anymore, but it's too hard to ignore that I'll never not feel like yours. Holding on to someone new's the only time I feel like I'm still holding on to you. It's like an instant rewind to New Year's Eve at midnight. Taste your lips like Napa red wine. Wish I wasn't looking back on you, but I still do. Deja vu.
Okay friends, so I have now finished the actual carrot man already. So this is what he's looking like. Actually kind of a decent sized plushie. I thought it was gonna turn out smaller, but actually pretty decently sized. So now the next thing that I need to do is to make his little overalls. So use this and hopefully they come out the right size. I always get kind of nervous making like clothes for plushies because they kind of have to fit with your tension and the yarn weight that you're using, but we will see about that. So far, the pattern has been super detailed and super easy to understand, so really like it so far. So let me work on the overalls and then I will check in with you guys and show you the completed fourth pattern. Okay friends, so I've now finished the fourth pattern of this video, which is this little carrot guy. So this is what the overalls look like in the front, and then in the back, definitely a very small overall for this carrot, but I am so interested to see how people react to this at my booth. I can't really tell if it's gonna be like super popular or more of like a niche item, so I will definitely report back to you once I have this set up at my booth for the fall market. But this was honestly such a fun pattern to make, very different than a lot of things that I usually make. I'm happy that I finally got the chance to try this out after having this saved for like such a long time. So this is what he looked like. He took me a little over an hour to make, so definitely okay for the size that he is. And I also love the little facial expression. It's like very unbothered by anything. So definitely a funky little guy, and I'm happy that I finally tried this one out. So let's move on to pattern number 5, which I have actually also started to work on already, like prior to this video. And this is the only paid pattern that I will include in this video. This is the Flower Bunny by Way Crochets, and actually I said something wrong in the beginning. I said it was from Etsy, but it's actually from Ko-fi, where I got it quite a while ago, and I thought, why not make this flower bunny also like sunflower themed for fall and have a little sunflower bunny, because I think that that concept is just so cute. So I have already started to work on that, as I said, and I've actually completed the whole bunny already. The only thing that's currently missing is the sunflower hat that it will be sporting. So this is what the bunny looks like. Definitely also quite the nice size for this bunny. And I really like the color that I chose for this. This is my favorite new brown tone that I recently got. And it was actually quite easy to make. So you basically make the body first. And what I decided to do instead is I decided to make the arms first and crochet them into the body. Usually they would be sewn on, but I thought since they are added into like a singular row, I could just crochet them on. So I made the whole body like in one piece, and then you make the head and you sew them together. So you start the head from the top and the body from the bottom. That is why you have to sew it together, but it's like super easy. You have the same amount of stitches on the last row of the head and the last row of the body. So you basically sew the two opposing stitches together, and then finally you sew on the little ears. And I don't know what happened here, but for me the like inside part of the ear, so like this light pink part, got like super twisted throughout the rows, and hers didn't really. So I don't know what I did wrong here. That is why like this pink is coming out a lot more on this ear than on this, but I still think he looks so cute currently. And now on his head he will be rocking a sunflower hat, which I think is so adorable. So let me get out the colors that I have picked out for this one, because I decided to go ahead and pick some different colors than I did for the sunflower turtle, at least for the brown in the middle, because I thought this was not enough contrast. So instead I decided to go ahead and go with the brown that I thought was too dark for the sunflower turtle, because now this just gives like a little more contrast to the bunny, because this is like way lighter. And then we will have the same yellow for the petals, and then I chose this brighter green for like the stem part. So this will be the color palette, and I will go ahead and work on the sunflower hat right now, and I will check in with you guys probably once it's finished. I don't think that that is going to take me like a super long time. I haven't really like checked it out though, so we will see what the instructions say. Okay friends, I'm now back at the studio. Yesterday I sadly wasn't able to finish the little sunflower bunny while I was here. I then had to leave, but in the evening I ended up working some more on it and finally finishing it up. So this is what he looks like. Definitely super cute with the sunflower on his head. And yet again I underestimated how many stitches there are in the sunflower on his head, so definitely took a little while longer than I thought it would, but overall the result is so cute and it's such a nice size plushie. So definitely one of the bigger centerpieces that I will be able to have at my booth for the fall market, and definitely an eye catcher. So I am so glad that I was able to finish this one up last night. So I will take him now to join the other fall plushies. And then let's talk about the final pattern that I have picked out for this trying out new fall patterns video. So this was the pattern that I found on a website, and more specifically I found it through Pinterest. And I know that the Pinterest patterns can be a little sketchy, and I am personally not 100% sure that the pattern I have picked out will turn out the way it looks in the picture. So I was not able to find out the original pattern creator. I just know that the pattern originally is from a Russian creator, and the pattern I found is just the translation, the English translation. The translation I found is by Carmen Crochet on her website, and it's like translated from Russian as she says, and it is for this owl plushie, and I think this looks so cute. Let me actually look at it myself. So I think this one looks so unique and definitely also a pretty nice size. I have also already picked out the color that I will be making it in, so this light beige, which I think is perfect for an owl, and then the beak and the feet will be in mustard as they are in the pattern. And yeah, I am not, as I said, I'm not 100% convinced yet that this pattern will actually be self-explanatory and I will be able to actually finish this one up, but we will see. Let me start working on that and I will check in with you guys once I have something to show you, or like something happens with the pattern where I'm not sure what to make next. So we will see how this pattern turns out. Let me start working. Okay friends, so I've been working on the pattern for a bit and I wanted to show you what I got finished so far. So you can definitely tell that this pattern is translated. Not going to lie, it's a little difficult to understand at times like what you're supposed to do. But so far I think I've been working everything out. So I have finished the head. So this is what it's looking like. This will like be sewn together later on, and then like sewn down somewhat like this to make the ears. At least that's what I've gathered from the pattern. And then I have my two eye pieces. So these will get sewn onto the head. So this is kind of what that's looking like. I've not secured the safety eyes in there yet. I've just like pushed them through the middle, but we will have to see where we want to place that later on. There's like not really an explanation of like where these should be placed, but we will figure that out once we get there. And then I have now been working on the body. So this is what it's looking like so far. And now what I will do in just a second is sew together the body and the head. So like this, because from the pattern, you're actually supposed to like join them so that the owl can like rotate the head. But I can't really do that if I want to sell my plushies. So I will be sewing those together just like on the same rows. Like the pattern tells you to put like cardboard in here to have like a flat bottom of the head and a flat top of the body, and then join it with like plushie joints or something. But I will just be sewing that and making sure that the owl is hopefully looking straight forward. But like if it's twisted a little bit, it doesn't really matter because like an owl could also look to the side. But we will see what happens with that. I will try my best here and see what I can do for that. There's like not really instructions on like where the head should be positioned to the body, because like in the original pattern you're able to twist it. So I will just try and figure it out myself. But yeah, that is how far I've gotten. So still quite a lot to do here. I think we still have to make the feet, the wings and the tail for that, and then sew like everything. So still quite a lot to do. But I'm confident that I can at least make a plushie with this that will somewhat look like an owl. So we shall see what happens next. I will check in with you guys once I have something else to show you than just little parts. Okay friends, so it's now quite a while later and I have kept working on this owl, and honestly this has taken me such a long time to even get to this point. So this is what it's looking like so far. So we have the little beak attached, and I actually ended up freehanding this because in the pattern they use a different yarn, like a very much thinner yarn, to make the beak and then also the feet. So that is why I ended up freehanding this, but I think it looks all right. And then the owl also has the tail attached to it already, and I think that is looking so cute. And that was like no sew, just crocheting that together back here, and that is very unique and very like easy to make. And then I actually ended up making a little bit of a fail with the feet. So I kind of overread the part where it says that they use a way smaller yarn for the feet, and I made the pattern for the feet in the regular yarn, and this is what it ended up looking like. So definitely like very goofy and not like very fitting for this owl. So I got a little frustrated first because I don't have any like smaller yarn that I could use for this. So I ended up actually freehanding the feet as well. So this is what I ended up making for those. So this is kind of like what they will look like once attached, and I think that like fits way better to the owl and like the whole shape of the body than whatever this is. So that ended up taking me quite a lot longer, but that is kind of like on me because I overread the whole part. But overall, like this whole shape is a little weird, so I'm actually glad I ended up freehanding those to attach to the owl in a little bit. And then I actually also have finished the two wings for the owl, so we can sew those on kind of like this. So the only things that I need to do still are sewing the wings and sewing the feet, so that should hopefully not take me such a long time anymore. So let me finish that up and then I will check in with you guys and show you the finished result. Okay friends, we have finally finished the owl plushie. So this is what the end result looks like now. I really actually like how it turned out. I just wish it was a little simpler. So this took me, I think, like almost 3 hours, which was partly my fault for not really reading the pattern and then having to remake the little feet. But overall, I actually like the feet a little better that I personally made than the ones in the pattern. I really like the idea of having the eye pieces be separate and like sewing them on to the body. I also really like the shape of the ears and that they're just like sewn together to create these little corners that look just like owl ears. So overall, I'm actually obsessed with this plushie, and now that I know how to make it, I think I could definitely make it way quicker than the first time around. So I will see what happens at my market, if people end up liking this plushie and if I will make it again. But in the end, I actually like the end result quite a lot. This is actually one of my favorite plushies that I tried out over the course of this video. I think though my absolute favorite would be the little jellycat pumpkin, just because it's no-sew, it's so market prep friendly. I could make like 5 of these in an afternoon for my fall markets. So that is definitely the most market preppable pattern that I tried out over the course of this video. And actually let me go through all of the patterns that I showed you in this video again. All of these will of course be linked down below. So first of all, we started out with this candy corn triceratops. We made the sunflower turtle. the little jellycat pumpkin, the goofy little carrot man, which I actually really like. It's so different. We made the very cutesy sunflower bunny, which is definitely a very unique item, and I'm sure it will get adopted in no time because this is like so unique and definitely will stand out at my table. And then finally we made the owl, which is actually pretty realistic, and I actually ended up liking it more than I thought I would while I was making it. So those were all of the new fall patterns that I tried out for this video. Don't forget to comment down below which one was your favorite and which one you're trying out for your fall markets. And also let me know if you enjoy these types of trying out new patterns videos, so I can do more of those in the future. I have so many more patterns saved on my Instagram and all over the place, honestly. So I could definitely make a future video just like this. But for now, I thank you guys so much for watching this video all the way until the end. And I will see you guys again next week for another video. So until then, bye!